meaning it has to enable a film formation, plastic enough to form a film, and strong enough to stay as a film. And so when we say strength is naturally, there is an element of solid character. When we say film, definitely it has to flow like thermoplastic. All right. This GPF is known to offer the best balance of the solid and the fluid character. And this particular work is about using this SBR GPF peroxide crosslink. So peroxide is equally popular, but for SBR it is unusual. But this being some special research, this thing, the researcher they wanted to handle a clean system. Sulfur cure, sulfur accelerator, activator. So the compounding is elaborate. Whereas the peroxide cure, I repeat, the peroxide cure, organic peroxide. You must have been told about the role of organic peroxide. And this organic peroxide, what they do, they simply cause a free radical mechanism, radical crosslinking. Whereas sulfur, it is mostly ionic. So free radical acts as an initiator. Right. So they have used dicumyl peroxide. Make a note. Dicumyl peroxide, DCP in short. Okay. So this DCP, SBR, GPF, these three and a two-roll mill, they have prepared the compound and vulcanized. So this vulcanized SBR used as a substrate for some other polymerization to happen in a kind of a solution medium. Okay, and they looked at thermoplastic elastomer. Okay, and so the elastomer part is from the SBR, the thermoplastic from PMMA, polymethyl methacrylate. This PMMA comes with some amount of toughness. With the addition of rubber, the toughness they claim it is further enhanced. As applied to the rubber, definitely there is a considerable increase in the breaking strength. So this thermoplastic breaking strength increases. It is at the expense of the strain, meaning there is a considerable loss in the elongation. That is what they claim, and they have established with some special technique, etc. So the point here is SBR emulsion grade is known to us at least after Second World War, and we continue to work. One, and this furnace grade carbon black was also developed almost simultaneously. Correct? So, what will be the developments happening in the other field as applied to the rubber science? It is getting renewed, meaning irrespective of the timeline we work, right? So there is a renewed interest in rubber. All right. And in this respect, friends, last class we looked at the typical recipe for nitrile rubber, So nitrile rubber, one important polymer variation is a variable. Polymer variable is the nitrile content. So low nitrile, medium. So you have 5 types of the nitrile rubber. So you have ultra high nitrile and a low nitrile, right? So ultra high, it's more of a thermoplastic. So definitely it has a very good tensile strength and the best solvent resistance among the nitrile rubber. But one problem with the high nitrile is you must have studied is the loss of low temperature flexibility. So it stiffens at a higher temperature. It's a rubbery, no doubt, but compared to the low nitrile, you have problem. So what is about the low nitrile? Low nitrile gives you best low temperature resistance because of the rich butadiene content. But unfortunately, low nitrile will give you very limited solvent resistance. In between medium nitrile, medium high nitrile. This medium nitrile is very popular. Uh, in uh, in most of the recipes we discussed, NBR 3450, NBR 3450, it's a particular grade. ACN content is 34 and the mono viscosity is 50. NBR 3450. ACN content 34 and the mono viscosity 50. All right. So this particular grade is found to strike a balance between the solvent resistance as well as the low temperature flexibility and the dimensional stability. So the third one, dimensional stability, is in terms of a compression set resistance. All right. Nitrile rubber is known for its preference as a sealing for rubber seal, oil seal, nitrile rubber. Okay. All right. And so for rubber formulation for sealing application, compression set resistance is given a lot of importance, right? And there are certain modification of nitrile rubber. There are at least 2 commercial modifications. The first one is the carboxylated nitrile rubber, XNBR, carboxylated nitrile rubber. That is, in addition to butadiene and acrylonitrile, there is a third monomer. So the monomer could be acrylic acid or a methacrylic acid. So the point here is this carboxylic acid, it alters the cross-linking chemistry of the nitrile, meaning in addition to the sulfur, peroxide, one can look at some metal oxide. So the metal oxide cure promoted by the methacrylic acid. As a result, you are going to have the best combination of covalent as well as ionic cross. So covalent cross-links from sulfur, ionic from the metal oxide. All right, and you get the rubber cross-linked rubber with the superior abrasion resistance. Abrasion resistance comes with the high modulus, high tensile strength, moderate elongation. At the same time, solvent resistance. Okay, so XNBR that way, it has certain special application. Unlike regular NBR, this XNBR has a special application. Right. So that is one chemical modification. Another one it has almost come to stay is the hydrogenated nitrile rubber. Okay, and the last class we discussed the after hydrogenation the residual double bond RD, residual double bond. So that can uh, make the rubber suitable for sulfur cross linking or a peroxide cross. Both are popular, sulfur and the peroxide. And what is special about HNBR? You may have studied, and I also stressed in the last class. So the kind of repeating unit is just not 2 or 3; it is more than that. Okay, so that makes working with the HNBR interesting, and the HNBR as a compound chemistry is getting still evolving. Right. So the HNBR hydrogenation happens in the butadiene. On hydrogenation, butadiene, it gets transformed as a ethylene. So the monomer becomes a ethylene. In certain cases, isobutylene, and the butadiene also remains there. So you have butadiene, ethylene, isobutylene, acrylonate. So you have 4 monomer, and that makes this HNBR as the an important chemical modification of a nitrile rubber. And among the high consistent rubber, make a note, high consistent rubber, HC, high consistent rubber, meaning one can tailor the rubber formulation to suit a given application, right? So given application, let us say the medium is of this nature, this is the temperature, this is the load involved, this is the kind of oxygen or ozone that is present, and accordingly one can tailor the rubber compound. And this tailoring of rubber compound, otherwise known as a highly consistent rubber formulation, highly consistent. Okay, and so HNBR is an important chemical modification of NBR. Okay, and in case of the sulfur accelerator, I take you to the sulfur accelerator this thing. So before we do that, in case of the HCR, in case of HCR, so I said HNBR, and you also have ACM. ACM is a polyacrylate. So polyacrylate, you may have studied, it is an emulsion polymer, and it contains the repeating units, ethyl acrylate, butyl, and octyl, ethyl ethoxy, ethyl acrylate, and one can have any other acrylate as the repeating unit, because it can be made in the laboratory. 1 and 2, one can tailor this because of ease with which polymerization can happen. And this again, the emulsion polymer. So, what is special about this polyacrylate? Polyacrylate, again, a saturated backbone. 1. And number 2, every repeating monomer, whether it is ethyl, butyl, octyl, or any other this thing, the organic this thing, that is the alcohol part. So the alcohol could be ethyl alcohol, butyl alcohol, octyl, actanol, etc. So whatever be the alcohol part, so you have this ester group. This ester group increases the polarity considerably. So this polarity increase makes the rubber lot more resistance to solvent, to petroleum solvent and other sorry, organic medium. One and two, the you also have, as you increase the chain length of the alcohol, the oxygen that comes with the ester, that also adds to the flexibility, right? That also one. So that flexibility is required to make acrylate as a rubber. Solvent resistance is no issue at all, but you have problem in respect of the flexibility. So one can get a different TG by changing the alcohol part. Right. And another variable is as you randomize the acrylate, again one can have an amorphous polymer. So that amorphous polymer will give you consistent low temperature flexibility. Make a note, consistent low temperature flexibility. All right. And the third variable is again this alcohol part. So this alcohol, ethyl or a methyl alcohol. So what they do, they have more likeness to the petroleum derivative, right? Or a less likeness. It has to be that is ethyl or a methyl. They are the likeness is rather reduced. If I have more of a long chain in C4, that is the butyl, and C8 is octyl. So between the butyl and the octyl, octyl has a more likeness to the petroleum derivative. Okay, and one can alter this, and this octyl comes with the better stability because the activity is considerably suppressed, and so that is an advantage. One can store the compound for a longer duration. So polyacrylate is another rubber another rubber under HCl, high consistent rubber. And you may have studied polyacrylate. This is an ester, therefore one can use amide, amine type, amine cross links are popular. One, and you also have fatty acid soap like potassium stearate. Potassium stearate is common. You'll be surprised. Sulfur is the accelerator. Sulfur is the accelerator. So we will look at a couple of typical recipe in the polyacrylate. All right, and one can have, as I told you, you can have a variety, including copolymerizing with the chloro substituted, chloroethyl, vinyl ether. All right, so you have a, so the moment we introduce an ether group, ether is what? You have a carbon, oxygen, carbon. So this ether group, whether we like it or not, it adds to the flexibility about the main chain. So that makes the rubber lot more there is a solvent resistant rubber. There is always a problem of balancing resistance to low temperature stiffening and the solvent resistance. So ACM, on the other hand, by changing the repeating unit, you can make the rubber equally flexible. Okay. So that is about the polyacrylate. And in case of the FKM, we have discussed, and this is epichlorohydrin.
This is a polyether rubber. Polyether rubber, COC. One can have a homopolymer and a copolymer. Epichlorohydrin will be surprised. So this again cross-linked with the amines. Okay. So an interesting aspect of epichlorohydrin is so you have ether, low temperature flexibility. So it combines solvent resistance and the damping. Damping is as good as butyl rubber. Butyl rubber, solvent resistance is practically nil. Alright? Whereas the epichlorohydrin, it gives you a good balance of damping, solvent resistance. And since it contains chlorine, so it the self-extinguishing, that is the flame retardancy is also possible. Right? And this epichlorohydrin that is being described further, and one can have, as I told you, amines as a cross-linker, and cross-linking. So we'll have to make use of this chlorine because the removal of HCl is important, and ethylene thiourea, which we discussed in chloroprene rubber, is used here, right? And this is a silicone rubber. This has completely transformed the way the compound chemistry is addressed, because silicone rubber, polydimethyl siloxane, PDM as well. Polydimethyl siloxane. That is the main. That is the major part of silicone rubber. One can co-polymerize with the vinyl, phenyl, right? So this vinyl, as the term implies, it leaves behind unsaturation. So this unsaturation is necessary for cross-linking. What cross-linking? Peroxide cross-linking and compression set resistance. Because silicone rubber suffers from poor compression set resistance. Wherever it is required, so what we do, we choose a particular grade that contains a vinyl, right? So this methyl and phenyl, methyl group, what does it do? It adds to the compound viscosity, all right, and the so in terms of film formation, it helps you. This phenyl, it gives you enhanced high temperature properties. Silicone rubber, in case of, listen very carefully, silicone rubber, it compares so well with the FK. I will tell you how. FKM, we said, in case of compounding, what do? You get the polymer which is already loaded with a cross-linker. So all you do is add some metal oxides. So that completes the mixing. Similarly, silicone rubber, it does not, what shall I say, its gum strength is not as good as other rubber. It is rather weak, gum strength is weak, and it does not respond to elaborate mixing. So all you will have to do is get the rubber add the peroxide. That's it. So in case of the peroxide as a cross-linker, you have a vinyl specific and the general purpose. So vinyl specific means so that peroxide will be active only if there is unsaturation in the rubber. Only unsaturation in the rubber, vinyl specific. General purpose, whether unsaturation or saturated or unsaturated, that peroxide will initiate a free radical, cross-linking will happen. Okay, so that general purpose is mostly derived from peroxy acids. Okay, peroxy acids, okay, organo acids, 2,4-dichloro benzoyl peroxide, 2,4-dichloro benzoyl peroxide, 2,4-dichloro benzoyl derived from benzoic acid. So that benzoyl peroxide, it goes well with the general purpose. So vinyl specific is a dicamyl peroxide. You understand? So depending on so this vinyl specific, as I told you, if the compression set resistance, say for seals, so whether you make a seal from NBR, ACM, HNBR, fluorocarbon, silicone, right? Seals invariably require a resistance to compression set. All right. And what is special about silicone? Silicone, low temperature flexibility, enormous low temperature flexibility. Okay, one. And two, in case of a biological fluid, this is the best rubber. Biological fluid, this is the best rubber. Okay. And two, it has the surface fluffiness or surface, what shall I say, the softness. Silicone rubber is, that is the quality of silicone rubber, and surface slippery. Okay, so that is the strength as well as the weakness. This slippery will make the rubber poor for abrasion resistance. Abrasion resistance is poor. All right. So how do we make up this poor abrasion resistance? You go for a fluorosilicone. They are available in the market. Fluorosilicone. All right. So this fluorosilicone again, peroxide cross-linking. So that is about the silicone rubber. And this polyurethane, another interesting class of rubber, and this often competes with the NR. Right? You'll be surprised. So NR and polyurethane. So polyurethane, you require an isocyanate, you require a chain extender, otherwise it is the cross-linker, and you also have a polyhydroxy ether or a ester. Polyhydroxy ether or ester. So the ether, right? So that is carbon, oxygen, carbon, ether, low temperature flexibility. Polyester, solvent resistance. Okay. So this isocyanate and the millable gum. Okay. So this millable gum implies one can do typical rubber compounding. can make a rubber compound out of a polyurethane, millable gum. So this millable gum responds to filler reinforcement, peroxide cross-linking, in certain cases, sulfur cross-linking. You'll be surprised. Sulfur cross-linking, peroxide cross-linking. So polyurethane, why it is considered as a competitor to enol in terms of room temperature properties and solvent-free atmosphere. Room temperature, solvent-free atmosphere. Okay. And the polyurethane. So polyurethane abrasion resistance is supreme. Polyurethane abrasion resistance is supreme. All right. And somehow it has not earlier the user was after the polyurethane, and the processing guy, the rubber compounder, was also making a good volume of polyurethane. And I have handled the polyurethane, and so that is for the rubberized fabric, okay? Rubber textile bonding, for a particular study. We used polyurethane millable gum. So this such a user-friendly rubber. Okay? All right. And so friends, this polysulfide is not so common, but polysulfide rubber is known for the best solvent resistance. Best solvent resistance, but poor compression set resistance. Best solvent resistance, poor compression set resistance. So we are not going to discuss this TPE. You must have studied in the rubber material. So now I take you to the rubber accelerator. So this particular slide or this is called a spider chart. This spider chart, it describes where we position HNBR in respect of NBR. Right. So take a close look at this spider diagram, and in respect of tensile, abrasion, low temperature, resilience, and contact with the regular process oil and the air turbine fluid, ATF, air turbine fluid, ozone resistance. All right. So the HNBR holds a lot of promise. Okay. So now we look at yes. So this is what we were discussing last class. This is otherwise known as a rheograph or a pure curve. You have so what is described as a three distinct zone. Three distinct zone. You have an induction. You have the cross linking, where most of the cross links are formed, and once the cross links are formed, the network, how the network responds to the extended duration at a higher temperature. So we saw a marching, plateau, and the reversion. All right. So this curing zone even though what is shown here is rather moderate, one can have a fast rising, that is a rapid cross-linking. At the same time, one can have a slow cross-linking. So depending on the product and also depending on the compound where it is positioned, one can have a different cure rate. So there are the 3S and 1R. 3S and 1R. Make a note. What are this 3S? Safety, state, stability, all right, and 1R is the rate of cross-linking. Okay, so I repeat, so 3S, 1R. Safety, that is the induction or the scorch safety. Induction or a scorch safety. Okay. Safety and rate of cross-linking. Once it has crossed the induction, what is the rate at which a cross-linking will happen? Okay. Once a cross-linking happens, how homogeneously and how effectively the rubber functionality is used in creating a three-dimensional network. So that is what we understand as the state of cross-link. State. Right? Once a state is formed, what happens to the three-dimensional network? Does it remain stable, or further cross-linking, or a reversion? Okay, and with this background, right, you have so these are the properties one can generalize. So what are the properties? Tensile, elongation, hardness, and elasticity is in respect of rebound resilience. Rebound resilience. Okay, so resilience, what happens? It rapidly rises and it maintains. What happens to the EB? It decreases. There is a notable dip, then a little increase and it stabilizes. What about the tensile? There is a maximum. There is a maximum tensile. And elasticity we have discussed. What happens with the hardness? So hardness, it increases to a steady value, then it tapers. This, as we see here, these are the four essential properties that describe, irrespective of the end use. Irrespective of the end use, these four properties they are considered the indicator of rubberiness: tensile, elongation, hardness, and the elasticity. As we see here, each property behaves in its own respect, right? And this is a set of properties. So these properties, they come from the structure. So the structure is the cross-linked structure as well as the rubber chain. So this structure property relationship, it cannot be generalized for rubber. So that is his strength and the weakness. Why it is considered a strong point? Because one can focus on a particular property, and to achieve that particular property, you vary the structure. That is his strength. What is a weakness? The strength itself is a weakness because other properties are also badly affected. Okay, so it all depends how one looks at it, whether it is a half full or a half empty. half full or a half empty. As far as the rubber chemists are concerned, we always look at the positive aspect, but we should be appreciative of the limitation. All right, fine. Now I am going to take you to the what are the this is the cross-linking the process, but this is not complete. Don't worry about this. So this is the we may spend about 10 minutes in the different types of organic compounds used as a sulfur accelerator. Then I will take you to a very important description about the mechanism of sulfur cross-linking. So what are the types of accelerator? So you have aldehyde amines, guanidines, thiosols, sulfonamides, diuram, dithiocarbonates, xanthates, and the sulfur nitrogen oxygen compound that cannot be grouped under any of this, they can be placed under other accelerators. Okay, so you have so how we this is a based on the chemistry of that particular accelerator, chemistry of the functionality. Okay, and how they respond to the thermal history: slow, fast, very fast, ultra fast. And among the ultra fast, we don't use a xanthate for the dry rubber. They are rather reserved for the room temperature cross-linking, namely latex. Okay, for the latex, xanthates. But the dithiocarbonates we use. Dithiocarbonates we use in certain EPDM and also NBR. Certain EPDM or NBR. By the way, do you see the slide? You see the content? Hello? Friends? You see the content?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, friends, yes. So, this aldehyde amine, otherwise known as imine. So this imine, that structure, butyroaldehyde aniline. Butyroaldehyde, that is derived from aniline and the butyroaldehyde. And so very fast leads to high cross-link density. And the next one is the hexamethylene tetramine. So look at this is a bicycle. Okay. So you have a bridge and you also cycling. So what is special about this? It is a secondary accelerator. In contrast to the butyraldehyde aniline derivative, this is a, and what is special about this hexa? Hexa is, it can liberate, listen very carefully, it can liberate, for every 1 mole of hexa, it can liberate 6 moles of methylene. 6 moles of methylene. This methylene is necessary in case of bonding. Okay? And this is considered one of the components for the rubber compound for the dry bonding. That is, the compound itself can generate certain additives that can bond with the non-rubber substrate like textile. Okay, So it has a lot of application, hexa. Even though as an accelerator, it is not so popular. Okay, and similarly, this this crotonylidine tetramine, it is just an extension of hexa. It is not that much popular. More of a academic interest. This DPG is very popular as a secondary accelerator with the sulfonamide. MBT is a DPG or sulfonamide plus DPG. MBT is a disulfide and so that is the thiazole. MBTS is a thiazole, dimer of a thiazole and plus a DPG. That is why used predominantly as a secondary accelerator. What does it do? It does not cause a cross-linking so rapidly. It just balances, make a note, it balances the cross-links to happen throughout the network. Wherever the compound has felt the necessary the thermal energy, the cross-linking is initiated. So this diphenyl guanidine would ensure that you have a DPG, you also have a DOTG. Make a note, DOTG. Right? So what is that is the dioptyl toluidine guanidine. Dioptyl toluidine, DOTG. Okay, DOTG. But DPG is very popular. DOTG is also known. Okay, so that is about the that is given. Diorthotolyl guanidine. Diortho, not toluidine. Diorthotolyl guanidine. This again a DPG. It acts as a DPG. Now comes the primary accelerator. Primary accelerator. So the foremost primary accelerator is the MBT, and it's a dimer MBTS. Okay? MBT and MBTS. So their description is given in the last column. Then staple accelerator sulfonamide. That is from the thiazole. Look at the thiazole. You replace that hydrogen with the secondary amine derivative. Secondary amine means a replaceable hydrogen. Okay. So what is this first sulfonamide? N-cyclohexyl. So this is the cyclohexyl. Benzothiazole sulfonamide. So this group is called a sulfonamide group. Sulfur nitrogen. This is called the sulfonamide group. Alright, so this sulfonamide, what does it do? It is used in EV system also. I have one replaceable hydrogen. I further replace it with the cyclohexyl. So it is the dicyclohexyl. This is the, it gives the best scorch safety. Best scorch safety, but as fast as thiazole. Because best scorch safety is because of the dicyclohexyl. Once they decompose, you are left with the MBT. That MBT will take care of a fast curing. Okay. Then, in place of cyclohexane, I can have a tertiary butyl. Okay. That is tertiary butyl benzthiazole sulfonamide. This is very popular accelerator. Then this OTOS, N-oxy-diethylene dithiocarbamide. So look at the structure. This is N-oxy-diethylene. So you have a 2-ethylene, N-oxy-diethylene, thiocarbamide. So why it is called the thiocarbamide? Because of this group, NCS, thiocarbamide. Sulfonamide, again a sulfur nitrogen sulfonamide. This OTOS is also used as common as a sulfonamide, the regular sulfonamide. And the last one is that is not listed here. You can make a note. One can have a morpholine, right? So one can have a morpholine is what? You are going to have this. Yes, morpholine will be, this will be absent. The CSS will be absent. So N, S, N, and this oxy-diethylene. This C double bond S would be absent. C double bond S would be absent. Okay, that is a morpholine. Okay. All right. And next comes the thiurums. Thiurums, tetramethyl, tetraethyl, tetrabenzyl thiurum disulfide. This is considered the safest thiurums at the same time bloom free. It does not cause any bloom. What is special about this? If I want to make a EV cure, you use a thiurum. So thiurum is what is thiurum? This is this group NCS. So this is thiurum. This is thiurum. I can have this alkyl derivative, either methyl or ethyl, or in certain cases butyl, in other cases benzyl. Okay. So methyl, ethyl, benzyl, and butyl. This TM in place of 2 sulfur, I'm going to have a single sulfur. Okay. Dithiocarbamates, they are considered ultra accelerators. They are very strong. The compound containing dithiocarbamates are known for poor process safety. Poor process safety. Okay. Zinc dithiocarbamates. Xanthates, as I told you, they are meant for latex grade. And there are organophosphates. So, organophosphates, they are not so popular, but maybe more of an academic interest, because phosphorus crosslinks, they also give you inherent flame retardants. So look at sulfur donor, diphentamethylene thiurum sulfide. I can have a tetrasulfide hexasulfide. X. So if it is X is 4, I call it as a tetra. If X is 6, it is called a hexa. Diphentamethylene thiurum tetrasulfide hexasulfide. Very interesting sulfur donor. And this DTDM we discussed last class. This is the dimorpholine. And you have certain variety in the sulfur donor, and you also have a caprolactam disulfide. So, caprolactam. All right. And so we have another 5 minutes. I'll just show you. So, do you see the screen, friends? Yeah, chola chala.
Sir, we have class now, sir. 20.
You have class?
Yes, sir.
All right. Fine. So we will discuss this sulfur reaction mechanism next class. Okay? Fine. And I stop here. And when is our next class? Hello? Anusha, when is our next class?
Monday, first
Monday.
half, sir.
Sir,
Monday,
Saturday
sir.
working. Saturday working day, sir. So there will be Thursday timetable. I think so. Third hour we will have class.
Oh, Thursday timetable, Saturday.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll have class on Saturday.